Now a look back at the history of Fenton Glass. For more than 100 years, the company has been an important part of the state's glassmaking heritage. Last August, the company announced that it's shutting down operations at its Wood County plant. Keri Brown visited the plant to explore Fenton's unique glassmaking process. She takes us on a final tour.
Well, my grandfather and my great-uncle started the business in 1905. They had both worked in various glass factories as decorators, and they decided that they could do this for themselves. So my grandfather said, I think I'd like to start a factory, and John had always said, if you want to do that, come to me for some help. And I said, okay, I'm ready to go. And John says, how much money do you have? And Dad said Granddad said $280. And so John said, well, between the two of us, we have $286.40 some. And in 1906, began the process of building a factory here in Williamstown, and started production on January the 2nd, 1907.
Each piece of Fenton glass is unique. Pieces are either hand-blown or hand-pressed, and the process is complex. One piece of glass can require 18 people to produce. First, a worker gathers molten glass on a pipe from a furnace. The artisan then begins to shape the glass. It's dropped in a mold and pressed. The piece is then pulled out of the mold and is blown and shaped some more by the glassmaker. It's heated once again before heading to finishing. Some artisans use colored glass chips to pattern the glass. Other pieces are sprayed for an iridescent finish. The glass is heated once more before heading to a cooling rack. But not every piece that makes it this far ends up on a store shelf. Each piece is hand-selected for quality, and once the glass leaves the floor, it still may not be finished. Many pieces require special touches. Some end up in the decorating department, where Julia Pyle is painting designs on a Burmese vase.
My name is Julia Powell. I've been here 15 years. I'm a decorator. I never had any kind of schooling or training for it. I like meeting the people. I like being creative. I feel like I'm learning every day. I'm getting paid in a way to learn, because you're constantly learning something different. People compliment your work. It makes you feel good. You know, you've worked all day, but you can stop and look and see what you've done, and you feel good about it. And I think that means a lot.
Another step in the finishing process is sandblasting.
Well, I've been here 30 years, and I've been doing the sand carving for 26 years.
Is this something you picked up right away, or is it something that really took a while to train you with?
My boss, Richard Delaney, when he started this department, he taught me all that I know. The guy that started the department up. Then I highlight around the edges to make it look like the poinsettia is opening up and the color will pop out.
Each piece goes to Marie Shepard for closer inspection. Shepard has been at Fenton since 1963. She says she's always felt like a part of the Fenton family. Sometimes management would work with employees to learn the job. Shepard says her most memorable experience was one of those days.
And you know who I got? George Fenton. And we was doing bells. I'll never forget it. He kept asking me what to take and what not to. I almost said, hey, this is yours, ain't mine. And he said, you can have it. I don't want no part of it. He worked with me. George Fenton did. I think that was my most enjoyable time up here, was when George Fenton had to work. We worked right down there on that layer. and them old bells just rolling off at him, and he didn't know what to do with it.
Fenton's been an amazing story because as other companies have gone out of business, they've really managed to innovate, to move to new areas. Obviously, they're best known for the sort of carnival glass of old, but they've constantly adapted to changes, to declining markets. And it's quite amazing that they've lasted as long as they have when you see most of the other companies are gone.
The quality of Fenton Glass has helped the company survive some tough times.
Well, in the Depression, certainly that was a very difficult time. And the factory made a variety of articles from mixing bowls and other juice reamers and things of that, more functional in order to survive the Depression time. Actually came out of it making a perfume bottle for the Risley Company. And they bought a special hobnail opalescent perfume bottle, or cologne bottle, that they put the cologne in and colored and sold it for $1. And it was kept like 8 different glassmaking teams working in the late 30s and early 40s. And then during the war, actually there were good times during the war because the department stores and other retailers couldn't buy anything from overseas. So they were coming to the people in the United States who could produce product. And so it was busy. And then as soon as the war ended and that opened up, it was very slow. And began really in the 50s. One of the things that brought Fenton back up was the hobnail milk glass.
A fellow from New Martinsville brought an old mold that he owned, and we made a hobnail pattern barber bottle for him. And that launched our interest in the hobnail pattern, and we began to design pieces that went into the Fenton line in the hobnail pattern. And it took hold, and it sold very, very well. Bill Fenton, who was president and chairman of the board, used to refer to hobnail as Fenton's bread and butter. And it was a very, very popular pattern in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and on into the 70s. If you talk about the concept of classic Fenton, what will most people recognize as Fenton? It would certainly be our early carnival glass called iridescent ware, which came out in October 1907. In more recent times, we've developed distinctive patterns and color treatments such as red carnival glass, Burmese, rosaline, and today you saw us making favrine as well. And that's perhaps been our most distinctive character over the last several decades.